welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. It's August 11th, 2019. We've got a lot to talk about on the show today. Many things in the headlines, many things coming in the headlines. I got a new segment, and a shout out to my guy. I'm kind of taking this from him, so I'm going to give him ownership of it a little bit when we get to it. I've got my preseason thoughts, Pan American game, protests going on. What could that mean? NBA, mental health, NCAA, Rich Paul rules, Yankees, White Sox, Field of Dreams. Let's get into it. Lots to talk about. But I want to start off today with the saga that is Antonio Brown. And we've seen this thing developing over the last few years, right? It started in the locker room, videotaping, Facebook Live or live streaming after a game in the locker room. And everybody went in an uproar and, oh, how can you be doing this? And it violates the sanctity of the locker room. And at the time, I was a little split on it. I didn't see that he was giving away anything that was going on in the locker room. I thought it was kind of fun. I figured that was the direction a lot of this was going to go as far as locker room interaction, with the way social media is, with the way the game's changing, with the way access to players and branding and all of these things are taking place. I figured we would eventually start seeing more of that. At the same time, I understood, nobody else knew he was doing that. Nobody else, who's going around deciding they're going to change and walk around in the locker room thinking everything's like a normal locker room, knew that was going on. The coach and the speech and the words he was giving were not aware that was going on. Fast forward, things fall apart in Pittsburgh, break up, he ends up in Oakland. Goes through the whole hair color thing where he's got the Pittsburgh Steelers colored hair, the blonde mustache, moves to Oakland, cleans it up, looking nice. We see all the training videos with the goggles and the strobe vision and on the balance ball and the one-handed and the rubber bands, and it's looking like he's dedicated. He's going to come out, he's going to make a splash, he's going to show the league, I'm AB, put some respect on my name. Hard Knocks comes, joins the Oakland Raiders, why not? They've got Antonio Brown, Montez Burfict, Richie Incognito, new head coach in John Gruden, Mike Mayock is the GM. It's going to be a story. Everybody's going to love to see it on Hard Knocks. We see Antonio's kids ask where Ben Roethlisberger is, because that's what they know. They know Ben Roethlisberger. They know Dad's job. They know who they play with his kids, things like that. We start to hear stories now that he's been late to meetings, that he's distracted in meetings and not fully focused. He's got different devices so he can be on his social media accounts and work on his brand. We heard the story recently now, the cryo chamber. Wore the wrong shoes, got frostbitten feet. That's why he was gone. It resurfaced this dislike, this discord, this animosity, this long-standing issue since he joined the Raiders about his helmet. Now, last year, the NFL granted a bunch of 20-something players basically a pass. We're going to let you wear this existing helmet, for at least this year, but it's a one-year pass because it's not meeting our safety standards. It's not meeting what we're trying to now do for you as players all these years later and actually be responsible for some of your health. Help you make good decisions. And we know that this helmet does not protect you the way the helmets we have now are. So we give you a one-year pass, you 20-plus players, less than 30. Now this year, they were all notified, you're not going to be allowed to wear that helmet this year. You have to now evolve. You have to step forward in your safety, the safety of the league, and do what's right and wear this new helmet. Well, Antonio Brown's fighting back on that. He's had a number of meetings with the league. He's had frustrations with the team. He's reportedly had his own helmet painted in a similar color to the Oakland Raiders helmet, but it wasn't quite a match because each team really does have their own color and their own color formula, so it would have taken a long time to actually match that perfectly. So we hear all these different stories. We see the theatrics, we see the talent, we see the production. So we're constantly sucked into what's going on with this story. But the saga's getting old. And just like in his interview with ESPN earlier this year, where he says he doesn't need football, he wants to play, but he doesn't need the game, and it's going to be under his conditions or he's not going to play. Well, I don't know if I should now think that that's true and that we might have seen the last of Antonio Brown on an NFL football field, and that he's comfortable with the money he's made, and his houses are paid for, and his cars are paid for, and his family's provided for, and that he's really willing to walk away if it's not under his terms. If it's that important that it's his way, that he could be an individual from the rest of the brotherhood. Or if this is for show and he's going to try and get the helmet and he's going to push it as long as he can and then finally come in and miss all of training camp and come in the regular season and be like, okay, I'm back, and try and ball out. If this is some kind of other strategy. I don't know what to think about this anymore. I don't know that I care about this anymore. Because it's now going beyond his talent on the field, which is supreme. Top 3 in the league minimum. But all of these things over the years, they start to wear you down. They start to weigh you down. And believe me, I started out as a empathizer, as a defender of Antonio Brown. Now I'm to the point I'm just like, what is there to defend? Yes, he has the right to say and feel and think what he wants. Be his own man, 100%. I can defend that. But you can't be this much of an individual in the ultimate team sport. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. At some point, you either have to become part of the whole, or just, like you said, go do your own thing because you're comfortable. And you've done it, and you don't need it. You want it, you love it, but you don't need it. Maybe that's where we're at. We'll have to see how this plays out. We'll check in on it here and there, and I'm sure when it comes to a conclusion, we'll talk about it again. But this is the saga that's become Antonio Brown instead of the great career that is or has been produced by Antonio Brown. Now it's, what dramatic thing can we talk about now? Is it the feet that are frostbitten? Is it the helmet thing? Is it all these the stories of missing the practice and not showing respect and being, focused and part of what's going on? Or is it the stuff that we see where the teammates are interacting and he's running routes and catching passes and doing his thing and working hard and becoming the best at his craft? We've been so split. We've got to pick sides on this. I'm saying let's wait to see. But I'm kind of done with all the nonsense and the drama aspect of it. So flipping the script on that, I want to do a new segment. Normally I'll do this at the end of the show, but I just want to go from the saga, the drama, to something positive, something good. Let's flip the script. Let's change the energy of the show right here, right now. And to do that, I'm going to introduce a new segment. And this is something, a guy I know, a guy I've worked with, a guy that I respect, Mike Fruitman. He works, he has his Mike Stadium sports cards here in Colorado, in the Denver metro area. I've worked with him doing concert security back in the late 90s, early 2000s, merchant guards. And good guy, respect the guy, and he does this thing on his Facebook page, Why I Love Sports. And he's into I think 2,000 reasons now of different things that have come up as to why he loves sports. And I love the premise, I love the idea, I love adding that to each one of my shows now. So Mike, I'm stealing your idea, I'm making it a segment on my show, but I'll do credit to you. Your idea. But I'm going to use it on the show. Maybe we'll get you on the show sometime, and you can also share, a reason why you love sports for that time period. But one of the reasons I love sports, and this, I guess, since Mike numbers his, if I'm numbering mine, this would be why I love sports number 1. And it's this story coming out of the Cleveland Browns about Damon Sheehy Giuseppe. This young man loves the game of football. He was at a lower level college, decided to drop out, try his hand, prove his ability, believed in himself, and tried to get into an FBS school. He did not get himself into an FBS school. He did not have any college experience at that point, anywhere to go play. His avenues were closed. So time goes by. He finds himself sleeping outside of a fitness center, sleeping, wherever he can on the grass, inside in the locker room. Goes to Brown's training camp. Basically talks his way in, smooth talks his way out there. Not really supposed to be there. Wasn't an invite. Didn't have any of the paperwork or, whatever they would have to prove that they should be there. But gets himself in. Proceeds to run a 4.38. Makes everybody take notice. Well, okay. Let me see that number again. Let me see your watch. Let me see your watch. Everybody takes notice of this young man. Veteran take notice of this young man. The rookies, the undrafted, the camp invitees. Okay, that guy got some speed. What number he's wearing? What group he running with? Got to see how I stack up against him in this tryout process. So he gets himself onto the preseason roster. He shows up, the cleats that he wants to wear for the first preseason game, his first time that he might see some action, get out there, do his thing as a little punt returner. Doesn't have the cleats he was planning on wearing, can't find them. Well, that's where your teammates come in. Odell Beckham Jr. says, hey, I got you, fam. You can wear my cleats. I'm not playing tonight, go ahead. I broke them in for you. Go ahead and do your thing. So Damon goes out. First game, Cleveland Browns, boom, makes another impression. He took that 4.38, he turned it into a punt return touchdown in the first game. Now everybody's on notice. Now it's not just, okay, the kid's fast. Now it's, okay, the kid's got heart, the kid's got determination, the kid can play. The kid just moved himself up on that depth chart. That's what that did. The kid's making himself a spot on the roster. The ultimate underdog story. Coming from nothing, not having a chance, having to prove yourself, getting an opportunity and making the most of it. Now, who knows? He might not still make that 53-man roster. He might be an outside guy looking in. But he keeps making plays. He keeps making impressions. Maybe he finds himself on a different 53-man roster. Maybe he gets picked up on a practice squad. Somebody unfortunately gets hurt and he gets his opportunity in a regular season. But this young man is why I love sports. It gives you a chance. If you work hard, you go out there, you fight for it, you earn it. It's not about what school you went to. It's not about how much money you had. It's about what you got on the inside and how hard you're willing to work to go out there and get it. And that's something that sports gives you, and that's why I love sports. Mike, thank you for the idea. I appreciate it, and I will continue to let everybody know that I got this idea from you. All right, moving on. Other things now. That was the new segment, Why I Love Sports. I'll have one of those stories at least once a week. Moving into the NFL season, as you know, we go to 2 episodes a week of the show. So expect another episode coming right around Wednesday, Thursday every week. I really haven't decided which day yet. We'll continue to have the one on the weekend and then one sometime midweek. Throughout the NFL season. But look forward to that starting this week with the new segment, Why I Love Sports, appearing at least once out of those 2 segments. Let me tell you, I love NFL Game Pass. I do. I love being able to go through, watch the condensed games, watch the coaches tape, watch the highlights, see all the games. For the value, for the price, it doesn't get any better. So, NFL Game Pass, keep up the good work. I love your product. I've been a member 3-4 years strong now. But it gives me a chance to watch all of what I want to see. And I got to watch a lot of the preseason games this week, more than what I thought I was going to watch, obviously, or at least parts of them. and I've got some thoughts on him. Outside of the fact that there was a lot of injuries, a lot of broken legs, some ACLs, some ankles, guys going down that we're going to make clubs. We're going to make rosters. We're going to be that veteran presence that now are not going to be part of that. And, that'll change things. Daniel Jones starts, perfect. 6 for 6, 60-something yards, a touchdown, looking good in that offense. He looked like a young Eli Manning. They have similar ways they move. I was watching how they each rolled out to their right on different bootleg passes, and it looked like just one guy was the younger version of the other one. One's wearing 8, one's wearing 10. They're about the same size. Their build is about the same. If he's developing at that pace, if he's really coming along and the Giants were right and we're all foolish for thinking Daniel Jones was taken way too high, then the Giants might have just set themselves up with a quarterback who can sit behind Eli, who can learn, who can continue to develop, kind of do that Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Phillip Rivers type style of becoming the starter. You put that with the young talent they're starting to build, and you can see the Giants getting better. You can see them making a splash. You can see them becoming more competitive. I liked that. The Bills, that kid, what was his name? Christian Wade, the rugby player, he makes a big splash. He lets everybody know he's here to play, and you better be able to tackle him, because if not, he's going to run through it and run past it. So that was a big, exciting play there. Looking at Lamar Jackson, I wanted to see how he was throwing from the pocket. Is there more accuracy? Now, they used a lot of fake running. They didn't have him run the ball, really. He looked a little better throwing the ball. I mean, he's got a rocket of an arm, but he's got to fine-tune it, right? And you can tell he's been putting in the work. There's definitely still more that needs to take place. Running game looked decent. And again, they're not starting everybody. It's not exactly who you're going to be running with game one, but you can pick up on little tendencies right now, areas that need to be worked on. Other games that I looked in on, Lions and Patriots. As you know, last week I predicted Lions and Patriots would be in the Super Bowl based on the crazy ranking system that I rolled out this offseason. And the Patriots' third squad went out and basically made the rest of the Lions look like high school kids. It was not a good showing for the Detroit Lions. The Patriots win 31-3. Jarrett Stidham looked better than either one of the Lions' backups, Fail or Savage. Savage now on concussion protocol. They bring in Josh Johnson, who's been on 13 NFL teams now. So Stafford can't get hurt or the Lions' season is done. Because their backup quarterback situation is pitiful. The Patriots look solid. Not having all their pieces, having some new pieces. Bergosi, I think the kid's name was. He was out there playing like a little Julian Edelman type. He was a little impressive in the return game. Cleveland looked real good. They didn't have all their starters playing. Nick Chubb looked good. Baker Mayfield looked good. The swag pound, as I've been calling them, on paper again, and it's just the preseason, but this team, confidence builds winning atmosphere. And this team is not lacking confidence. So as they get success, if they get success with their confidence, this is going to be a hard team to beat because you're never going to have them down to where they don't think they can compete. This is a competitive bunch of guys led by a quarterback who's got a fire. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy. He doesn't have the best arm, but he's got a competitive fire, and he will give you everything he has, and that's apparent, and he's a team-first guy. Us first, everybody else after that. I like what's building there. We'll have to see how it plays out, but the swag pound in Cleveland, opening drive, opening plays looked good, and really their defense looked good too. Myles Garrett looked good. They looked fast. So I like what they're doing there. We'll just have to see if it completely translates moving forward. Who else did I check out? Seattle and Denver. Paxton Lynch. Hey, he looked great against the third and fourth string against a team that he was highly motivated to go out and do something against. Great. You might be the backup. I doubt it. I think you end up getting cut still. But congratulations, you're having fun playing football. That's what you should be doing. You should be having fun playing football. And if you weren't in Denver, fine. Maybe that's going to help you. But there was a lot of part of your game that did not translate to the NFL level. And I'm sorry, I still don't see it. You've got a lot more to do. And I know you're only competing with Geno Smith. And both of you really are not top 32 backup NFL quarterbacks right now, in my opinion. Are you better than a whole lot of people? Sure. Are you better than me? 100%. But that does not put you on par with the rest of the league. Good showing nonetheless. You know, you took advantage of it. You had the passing touchdown. You ran for a touchdown. And you made Denver's lower level team look bad. Now, Denver's starters on defense didn't look good. Seattle's secondary offense was able to move the ball on them. Denver's starting offense was not able to capitalize on the good drive they had put together and only came up with 3 points. Again, preseason, but Denver's second preseason game. They had an extra week of practice. They've been out there through the routine before. So you expected a little bit more out of that group. You wanted to see a little more out of that group. And as far as Denver's tight end, Noah Fant, the rookie, I'm not going to praise the kid right now because I don't see him contributing in the running game, in the blocking game. I see him missing blocks. I see him holding. I see him using his shoulder and rub routes where he's not even making contact before he goes into his route. He's struggling in his blocking game. Praising him, I don't know why you would praise him in that aspect, especially the local sports talk radio here in Denver area, talking about how good he is and how much better. I mean, if he's looking better than you thought, you have bad expectations coming in. I expected to see a guy who struggled, and that's what I see. You must have expected to see a guy with no hands and no arms, with no eyes, just olaying people. So the fact that he's making contact is like, oh, wow. Now, is he a willing participant as a blocker? Sure. He doesn't shy away. He's just not good at it. So more needs to happen there. Kyler Murray looks solid. He came out with good confidence. He came out and ran the offense. He made some plays. He was efficient on his end. I think he only had right around 50 yards passing, something like 4 for 5. But a good showing. His size didn't seem to be a matter or a problem. He rolled out. He was quick. He has a quick release. They ran a lot of out routes, get him so when he was outside of the pocket, his receivers were breaking towards the sideline, and he was able to take advantage of that. So we'll see. The Cardinals could be, cause some teams trouble. They could catch Detroit sleeping again in game 1 this year. Last year, Detroit slipped up, lost to a rookie quarterback in Sam Darnold. Excuse me, hiccups. And who knows, they might slip up and lose to a rookie quarterback in week 1 this year against this Cardinals team. Teddy Bridgewater had a solid showing against the Vikings. I didn't really check out anybody else's games from Friday or Saturday yet. But again, NFL Game Pass, I love it. I have the ability to go back and watch all of those games and parts of those games and highlights from those games, and I will do just that. Other things that happened outside of Josh Johnson signing with Detroit as the backup quarterback this week. Duke Johnson was traded from Cleveland to Houston for a conditional, I think, 4th-round pick, so we'll see how that works out. Duke Johnson kind of taking over for Deontay Foreman, who Houston had released because of his basically lack of work ethic. Other running back news out there, Zeke Elliott appears maybe willing, possibly thinking about the idea of sitting out an entire season if he doesn't get a contract extension. And I can't blame these running backs. The shelf life of an NFL running back is about 3 seasons. When you're as high quality, when you're as good as these players like Le'Veon Bell and Zeke Elliott are, even though, yes, they both run behind great offensive lines, when you have the talent level that these guys have, when you're going to receive the ball and receive the punishment as often as these guys are, if you're not being compensated in this game, you kind of have to decide it's my future or my pay or my team. And ultimately, it comes down to you have to take care of yourself first. So do I blame Zeke? No. But the Cowboys there find themselves in a tough position. You have so many high draft picks, all coming around at the same time, all going to need new contracts if you want to keep them up. And we're hearing $30 million a year for Dak. We're hearing $15 million a year for Amari. You've got the defensive players that are going to be up for contracts soon. The offensive line guys that are going to be up for contracts. Now you got Zeke. He's up for a contract. He's going to be looking for 10, 12, $15 million a year. Everybody can't get paid. So the Cowboys find themselves in a very tough position. Do I think they could get it done? Yes. Do I think Zeke might miss time? I think there's a distinct possibility. Do I think it'll be the whole season? No. I don't think the pride level for Jerry Jones and what that team could do this year with Zeke, I don't think missing out on that is something Jerry Jones is willing to do or Stephen Jones is willing to do. I think they'll figure out how to get something done if he starts missing regular season time. Outside of that, I love the NFL Game Pass. Just put that out there again. I also love Racing Bodden and Gwen Berry, athletes down at the Pan American Games, winning medals for the United States, competing for the United States, both proud to be United States citizens, but both in their own way made protests during this week's games. Fencer Racing Bodden, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, he took a knee during the medal ceremony. That was his time. That was something he earned. That was his competitive moment. Nobody else's. And he took that time to take a knee, to bring attention to issues that he currently has within the country. And his words, "We must call for change. This week I am honored to represent Team USA at the Pan Am Games, taking home gold and bronze. My pride, however, has been cut short by the multiple shortcomings of the country I hold so dear to my heart. Racism, gun control, mistreatment of immigrants, and a president who spreads hate are at the top of a long list. I choose to sacrifice my moment today at the top of the podium to call attention to issues that I believe need to be addressed. I encourage others to please use your platforms for empowerment and change." I bring that up because I use my platform. I use this show for empowerment and change. And everything this young man says is true. There are multiple shortcomings. This can be a great country. We can be a great community, a great group of people. But racism, gun control, the way we are mistreating immigrants and each other, and the president who has helped spreading it and not shutting it down, are all shortcomings. We're better than that. Gwen Berry, she is a hammer thrower. She raised a fist during the national anthem. I salute both of these athletes. I kneel and raise my fist with both of you. Justice for all is what it says. And until we have it, this is what we must do. We must let people know this is not what we stand for. We must do better. We must be better. We must talk and communicate and get through ideas. We must get past this idea that we have to be associated to a group, and those are the only ideas that we are allowed to have or speak or understand. The dual-party system was made to fail. The Department of Justice and the government is now set against the people. They are supposed to be working for us. They are supposed to be on our best behalf. We have lobbyists. We have laws in place that say otherwise. It is time for us to come together and say this is not who we are. And we will be better, and we're going to do better. In the land of the free, justice for all. That's the path we should be on and striving for. Now, Mark Jones, he represents the Olympic Committee. He had a statement to ESPN on racing Gwen's actions. And he said in his statement on Sunday that refraining from political demonstrations is a term of eligibility on the Olympic circuit. In these cases, the athletes didn't adhere to the commitment they made to the organization committee and the USOPC. He said the USOPC is reviewing what consequences may result. Now, if it is specifically lined out in a contract or some kind of business situation that you can or cannot do certain things, unfortunately, right, wrong, or indifferent, there will be consequences for those. Do I agree with them getting consequences for being patriots, for enacting their rights as American citizens? No, they should not be punished in any way for that. Just because there's a group that might not like it. There's things all of us do not like. We have to accept that in this country to be what we thought we always represented. And I understand Mark's got a job and this is what he has to say, blah, 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 blah. We don't do that on this show. This is real deal sports talk. So let's be real about it. These two athletes are right. Saying politics and all these other things don't mix over and shouldn't cross over is bullshit. Because unfortunately, we're all people. We all live on the same planet, and we all have to figure it out together. It's not little one person in power, the president or prime minister or this person or that person, that's going to make it all better for us. It's not your deity or their deity. It's on all of us to do it, to be better, to do right. Right and wrong is what it comes down to. Not your political party, not your religious belief. Because you can go do you. And I don't know what you do behind closed doors. I don't have to hate you for it. I don't have to agree with it. But you can do you, and I can do me. And we can be different, and we can accept that difference exists. And if we can't, your belief system is probably wrong. It's probably leading you down a really bad path. The NBA is leading themselves down a really good path. The NBA is leading them down the pioneer path. The NBA is taking mental health and making it a forefront of what they do for their players. And I say that because I saw this on Kevin Love's page. As we all know, he came out with his struggles with mental health and his battle and how he goes about dealing with it. And he opened up bravely and let people in on that. NBA is now making it so that every team have to have a licensed mental health professional on retainer. So anybody on their team that's feeling anything, anybody on their team that might be suspected of being down or having some issues, we'll see this person. We'll have time with this person. We'll be able to talk to this person, get things off their chest to this person, and possibly get the help they need so something bad doesn't happen to them. So we're not talking about them as another statistic in this realm where we do not take care of the people in this country, on this planet, in mental health the way we should. We do not address it. We looked over it for so long. We used to just let those people die and or put them in prison and then execute them because of crimes, quote unquote, that they had committed or things they had done that they didn't even understand they were doing because they could not understand those laws. So I love, again, I'm in the love part of this show. I love that the NBA mental health is going in the direction that it is. The NFL needs to take a stronger stance. The NHL, the MLB, the Major League Lacrosse, Major League Soccer, the Olympic athletes. Make it something. Let it trickle down from that aspect. Let it trickle down to college athletics. Let it trickle down to high school athletics. Let it trickle down to Little League and elementary schools. And we start taking that part of our health as serious as we do other parts of our health. We need to take this new NCAA agent rule very seriously as well, or what it's now being called the Rich Paul rule, where they're having a pissing contest and trying to maintain their own power, basically. It's a power pissing contest. They're scared of the game changing. They're scared of losing control. They're making their own system to go with the NFL or the NBA agent system of how college athletes can enter the draft and still be eligible for eligibility in the NCAA level. And it's ridiculous. They don't like the influence that Rich Paul, possibly LeBron James, and some of these younger agents who are not going the traditional route are going. And it's not up to them to dictate and judge how certain people become into certain positions. Not everybody has the same path. Not everybody goes to college to find their career. Some people get different breaks in life and are able to do on-the-job training instead of practical classroom. And Rich Paul was the benefit of that. He had friends. He had connections. He went to the same school. And he was able to step into an industry without going to college. He's on the job training. He's made mistakes. He's gotten better, and he's doing very well for his clients. But to try and prevent anything like that, to try and prevent college athletes from thinking outside the box and thinking they have another avenue, to try and prevent high school athletes possibly from deciding I'm going to skip the NCAA and I'm going to go play in China or Australia and do something else to get to the NBA, because these two organizations don't have my best outlook at the top of their plan, just their best outlook. The NCAA is running right now. So they come out with these new rules. CBS Sports College Basketball Insider Joff Rothstein tweeted out Tuesday of this week that their three main criteria is that the agent must have a bachelor's degree. The agent must be certified by the NBPA for at least 3 years. And the agent must take and pass an in-person exam at the NCAA's headquarters in Indianapolis. Okay, so you're saying there's only one way to become an agent. You have to go through college. You have to have that bachelor's degree to talk to collegiate athletes. That's ridiculous. People leave college all the time to make discoveries with new inventions, don't earn college degrees, and they do just fine for themselves. So you're singling out probably a very small, select group of people that don't have bachelor's degree that represent athletes. Must be certified by the NBPA, okay, for at least 3 years. So that means you've established yourself. Okay, that's acceptable. That makes sense. You know what you're doing. You can give legitimate advice to these young men who are deciding whether or not they should forego college and enter the NBA. Great. That one makes sense. The agent must take and pass an in-person exam at the NCAA's headquarters in Indianapolis. That means we're going to judge you and decide whether or not we want to do business with you. That's BS. So you can fit those first two, but if you come to their interview and they decide for whatever arbitrary reason that they don't like you, you don't get to be part of this process. You don't get to advise young athletes as to where they might fall draft-wise and if it's a smart choice for them to even come out and try. That's a power struggle. We're going to ultimately be in charge. It doesn't really matter what your first two criteria are, because in this in-person thing, we're going to have all of the power in that part of the segment anyway. We just put these other things out there so it doesn't seem as corrupt. Get over yourself. The game's changing. Athletes are going to have as much power as the organizations, as the NCAA, as the NFL, as Major League Baseball, as the clubs, as the teams, as the schools. You've been getting rich off of them for far too long, and the pendulum is about to swing the other way. Whether that hurts sports ultimately and causes it to go away, we'll see. But the pendulum is going to start swinging back in the other direction, and that's real talk. On a high note, let's end on a high note. I love this story. I don't know how it's going to work, but the Yankees and the White Sox will play on the Field of Dreams field in Iowa in the 2020 season. I'm wondering how seats are going to work. What's the cost? What about the corn? I think it's awesome. Is it going to be on TV? Is it cable? Is this going to be on ABC, CBS, NBC? Is everybody going to cover it? Is it going to be a documentary? Is there going to be some kind of 30 for 30 leading up to it, including the movie and the actors and the people who live there and run the place now? Are we going to have cars lined up with the headlights to make light at night? Like, are we going to have people in costume, cosplay doing this event? Like, all the aspects that can go into it. I love it. I love the teams that they picked for it. You put them in their old-time uniforms, throwbacks, throw them out there with the caps on. I would even love it if they went ahead and put together like a 1930s, 1920s mitt for everybody, and they had to use the old-school mitts, a different bat. I know that might be taking it a little far, but at least throw the old-school unis on while we're doing it. It's going to be extremely interesting to me to see how this plays out, how the field plays out. I honestly don't know exactly what it looks like now. It'd be a bucket list thing for me to get to the Field of Dreams field at some point, for sure. Just an iconic sports movie field with, the idea that it's cut out of a cornfield and you can be chasing a ball and run right into some stocks. I don't know. just one of those things you grow up with, and it's really cool. It'd be like if there was this, the Sandlot thing was, becoming real in some way. But definitely intrigued in that. That's some real stuff right there. Real fan stuff right there. So I love how Major League Baseball is doing that. And again, the two teams, I don't know that they could have picked better teams. Maybe throw the Detroit Tigers in there instead of the Yankees. Make it the Tigers and the White Sox. But whatever. Another story for another day. We got a couple more openings in the 4th annual KP Showdown NFL Fantasy League. So if you're interested, go over to NFL.com, fantasynfl.com, and the league ID is 616-4249. League password 1Pride. If you want to come get some, come get some. Spots are limited. I believe as of this morning, we were down to 2 spots left in the league. That's as real as it can get for today. The saga of AB, why I love sports, preseason thoughts. I love NFL Game Pass. Pan American protest by Race and Gwen. Mark Jones, you're losing it. Mental health in the NBA. The Rich Paul rule. And the Yankees versus White Sox at the Field of Dreams. That's real talk. Until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.